the nation yesterday, and basically he said that if Iran didn't accept a ceasefire, that he was going to send them back to the Stone Age. And basically what he was referring to there, and the reason why I want to talk about this is because it is driving the market behavior this morning. And when it comes to politics or geopolitical type of things, the only thing I'm interested in regards to this channel, I have my own personal opinions about things, but I keep those to myself. What I'm curious, what I want to emphasize is the only thing I'm concerned with is how does it affect my investing and trading, okay? Being an American citizen, I might have different opinions, okay? But in regards to how it affects the trading, that's what this channel is for. And so I just want to make sure that we're on the same path here when I'm talking about these type of geopolitical type of things, okay? So let's go ahead and talk about this. When he's saying, I'm going to send you back to the Stone Age, what he's implying and what he's been implying is that he's going to hit their electrical grid. So I spent some time this morning trying to look at what are the implications of hitting the electrical grid, and what does that actually mean about the narrative possibly going forward for the stock market. And really it has some incredible implications. The implications are this, and we're not going to spend a lot of time on this, okay, but you need to understand the narrative, because this narrative is driving the price of oil. The oil is driving the price of every other aspect in the stock market, okay? So this is the source narrative of everything, okay? And now he's talking about possibly hitting the grid. So if he hits the grid, why would he hit the grid? Well, it basically paralyzes, it's the central nervous system for the military. So it basically paralyzes your opponent. It binds their air defenses, it disrupts their command and control, it paralyzes their logistics, their fuel pumps are electric, so they can't even pump fuel to get tanks or jets to where they need to get, and cyber operations that actually disrupts their cyber operations as well. However, it also has some huge implications in regards to the population. Okay? The cascading effect on the population is within a country like Iran, within 72 hours of a grid collapse, you're looking at water shortages, outbreaks of waterborne diseases, food problems because your refrigerators aren't going to be working in a hot area like that, healthcare collapse. And when it comes, and what the implications of that is, when the population begins to be starving or needing water, all of a sudden the people in the population who you felt like were on your side, they actually will rally around the flag. So that means that you would have to actually make things happen incredibly quick. Why would you even think about doing something like this? Okay, well, the reason why you would think about doing something like this, and the reason why the president would actually come out last night and get the American public understanding like where he's going, what he's thinking, what he wants to do, is because if he's planning to do this, more than likely he's sending in ground troops. Okay, and when ground troops come in, I think the stock market's going to have a reaction to that. Not only that, it's going to see that if he does end up hitting these things, it's going to have a major reaction to that as well. So that's the narrative that I'm trying to get across to you guys to be thinking about, and that's the reason why at this time, any pullbacks on oil and any talk about like ceasefires and stuff like that, while we're moving 50, 60,000 troops into the area, they need to be taken with a grain of salt. And that's why the last 2 days of the rally, you couldn't trust it, okay? So, and this is what I talked about, that they'll rally around the flag, it'll destruction of the middle class, a humanitarian crisis as a propaganda tool. So that's enough of that. I don't want to, like I said, spend all of my time on this. I am more of a technical trader, but I do live within the larger narratives. And so let's take a look at that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the charts today and see what's going on. We'll start with this. I want to actually look at the futures, okay? And basically, let's, I'm going to actually just copy this and use my toolbar down here. So here we go, there. Show toolbar, there. All right, so basically what I'm saying is this. This right here is driving the narrative for everything else, okay? When this is up, then this is going to be down, and this is going to be down. It's going to drive, and actually the way it actually works is it's driving these down, okay? It's driving the bonds down, right? And when you drive the bonds down, what that's doing is it's driving the yields up. But then on top of that, it's also driving the dollar higher, right? We'll put this diagram together so you totally get what's going on, okay? Now those two things then are doing this. They're driving the VIX higher, and then they're driving stocks lower. So that's actually how everything is working, okay? Now, so the war, what is actually happening with the war and where people feel like the war is going, that's driving oil. Oil's driving interest rates and the dollar and the VIX, and then the VIX and the interest rates and the dollar, they're driving the market. And so right now, if we're looking at escalation, then that's what you're looking at for the stock market is it's in a negative. All right, so we looked at that. Let's look at the hourly right now. Let's look at the daily right now. Right now we're in a bear market. We're entering a correction phase. We're almost 10% down in the markets here. You can see on the daily time frame. Crude oil is ripping up and continues to rip up. Dips are to be bought, and I did that a couple of days ago when the sell-off happened in oil, and so I'm happy to see oil pop today. I am short-term or mid-term bearish on your metals. As you can see, the metals are down right now, but if you look at them on the daily time frame, they are in an uptrend. So eventually, this is going to be a great buy, but we really got to get to what I call normalization of the interest rates and the dollar in order for that to be a buy. If you look on the hourly, we're looking at kind of the same thing. And then on the 5-minute, you can see that oil is continuing. It had the rip up after the Trump speech, and then now it's doing a complete melt up. And the SPY and the NASDAQ, they're melting down while we're getting the melt up. So that's what's going on with that. I posted over on X when we were going up on this, that you needed to pay attention to this right here, we're looking at the 650 zone as the area. Yesterday, max pain was 638, and we were well above it. We even had a little bit of a gamma squeeze early on early on to the mid part of the day, but then it started pulling back, and we're going to get into that in just a second. But I wanted you to understand this, is that 650 area is going to be a magnet right now, because that's exactly where the max pain is right now. If you look right here, and you look here on, I'll get my other drawing tool. This is for today. Here's your max pain right there, 650. So, and not only that, I showed people yesterday with the the volume profile that 650 was the peak volume, and so the chances of us really ripping past that, we're probably going to actually kind of maintain that spot. We're 650. If we lose 650, we're going back down again, of course. Today is the last trading day for the market, so that's important to note. I'm not sure if you're in a long-term position or you're a swing position trader, I'm not sure that you would actually want to be long the market going into a long weekend like we have coming up for the weekend. So my thought process is that rips today are actually probably going to get sold into, and I think that we're going to see another Friday sell-off today. As I've said before, anytime, what I'd like for you guys to do is to go ahead and put your requests in regards to which tickers that you want to look at, but let's go ahead and focus in on the SPY here to begin with. And what I did was I took this 4-hour chart right here, and I left my bullish falling wedge in here so I could show you what I showed the community yesterday, which was I had the 100% return right here at 568.18, and we pretty much hit that to the penny. We had a slight overshoot, which we've had a couple of times, the slight overshoots on this downward trend line, so that wasn't entirely surprising. I was a little surprised to see us continue to melt up yesterday. But once we hit this number right here, I went ahead, I threw a put on it, and then I went and took a nap for a couple hours and woke up to be a little bit richer because we had that pull down from here to here yesterday. Here, let me go ahead and show you. We had the pull down from here to there yesterday, and then I pulled it off because I'm a short-term trader. I was really thinking that when I had bought it, that it was going to stay up here and then I was going to keep it on. But as long as I made that money, it was time to pull it off, and that's how I trade. I'm in, I'm out, I'm taking my profits. I'll probably take profits on oil today. So this is what we were looking at. We're in the longer term, even though we were in a bullish falling wedge. You know, I told you before, the implications on that are now we're going to continue down past that falling wedge. So what's the target now to the bottom? Well, let's take a look. It's very easy to calculate. Now we're going to do a Fibonacci retracement down to the bottom side. And so let's go ahead and put the numbers on that. And I just leave them off most of the time for purposes, for clean sakes. So the minimum move that you're probably looking at is about 634, okay? A maximum move being around 620. I personally believe that we're probably going to, I told you before, I believe that we're probably going to see 600 in the SPY before all is said and done. A lot of people have talked about that this first quarter being down so low has implications for the second quarter, that the second quarter is only up about 27% of the time, and the year end is only up about 27% of the time or 25% of the time as well. So I didn't do those statistics. I got those statistics off of people that I follow on YouTube, so I wanted to share that with you as well. Let's go over to the hourly chart, or no, to the 15-minute chart so we can get a look at how we might want to trade this today. So. All right, so here we are. Let's take my indicators off to begin with, because I do like it to have a clean look to begin with. And let's go ahead and we'll add in the, it's not showing. Need to start putting that on. Let's go ahead and add in the highlight the extended session so we can actually look at our balance range. I think for you guys and for me as well, looking at the balance range has been hugely effective. When we looked at that balance range on Tuesday, I pretty much gave you guys the playbook. On Wednesday, we looked at the balance range, I gave you the playbook, but then what happened was we were in this upper balance range up here, if you look, right? We're in this upper balance range right here when we were doing our stream, and then boom, it actually shot down. So I sent out a message on Discord like, okay, now we're in the lower balance range. So now the whole idea is flipped. And what did it do? It did flip. Because we were in the lower balance range, it flipped up to the top. Now, something that I'm telling you guys to do, to start doing, is to mark your levels on your pre-market, okay? I'm not sure that this first candle, this candle here is actually a real candle. A lot of times you'll get these false wicks like this, but this was definitely a high right here. So I maybe would mark the high right here, and I'd mark this low right there. If you're above the high, you need to be bullish on the pre-market. If you're below the low, you need to be bearish on the pre-market. Mark your highs and mark your lows. On this one, you could have got in right here, on this candle right here where it wicked underneath. It showed that it was actually trying to gain support. It wicked underneath, and as this candle began to pick up some strength, you probably could have went ahead and got in. You could have got yourself a nice little scalp right there on that candle. You also, honestly, I don't see a way that I could have got in on the melt up on this. This melt up was terrible because if you look at it, it was wicking like crazy. It was wicking up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. You would have had to pull a regression channel on that, or at least a channel, and then try to actually pick the bottom. However, like I said before, picking off this right here, I entered in right here, And I said, you know what, I'm willing to go ahead and take the loss if it can pick up enough strength to actually go over that tomorrow. I have 3 straight days up in a bear market, then okay, then I'll take the loss. So it was a calculated play, and you know, this time it ended up winning, and you don't always win. And I'm not sitting here saying that I am always winning, because I'm not. But that one actually, between having the confluence of this indicator right here that we were going to hit that number, and then on top of that, you know, the downward trend line, and it's actually worked like so many times. Let me see if we'll actually, yeah, if you look here, and it's even more than this, but if you're looking on the 15-minute chart, you could see there's 2 times. This is a near miss right here. It's actually there's four times if you include the near misses as well. So anyhow, let's go ahead and zoom back out, or zoom back in, and let's look at our balance range. So here's your balance range right here. Where are we at? If we go into the middle, we're just going to kind of eyeball the middle right there. There's your middle right there. We're pretty much, your 650 is right there in the middle. So, wow. Guys, mark that down. This is an important number right here, mark that, 649 right there, okay? Mark that, because that 650, as I showed you with the volume profile, that's a high volume node. And it's a high volume node on a whole bunch of different time frames that I actually pulled that from. So that's going to be very important. If we open in off of the low, what are we looking for? Well, we're looking for some shorts to actually go ahead and cover, go ahead and profit take. So you're probably looking at a little bit of an up. Maybe all the way up to 650. Maybe up to here. Maybe you do like this. Or maybe people are just like, you know what? Get me out. You're up, and then all of a sudden we're down, and we might not even retest. I'm telling you that speech last night. I think that speech last night, if people are understanding the implications of that speech last night, they are probably going to get out of this market. But don't go and sell in the hole. You're going to get an opportunity. Look at this. Look at this pull down right here. You don't want to sell in the hole, because a lot of times you don't have the staying power to necessarily stay in it. But once you get that pullback on a hard thing like this, there's your entry right there, right? So let's say we get something hard down, right? You get a little minor pullback. That's your entry. And look at your risk reward on that. Here's your stop loss right here, and now you can ride it down. So what is that? I mean, that's like a 5-to-1 or a 6-to-1 risk reward, okay? So, you know, you have to play the edges, okay? I call it trading on the edge. It kind of reminds me of that song by Aerosmith, you know, living on the edge, and I call it trading on the edge. Let's take a look now at my indicators, and let's pick up our pivots. So, what are we looking at here? Our first pivot is 645.75. We got a top pivot of 649.35. We're getting those by the penny numbers. I don't like that. We're gonna round off to 25, okay? And just so it does that in the future, let's go ahead and save that flexible grid. In case you use Thinkorswim, this is what I do. I constantly, as I make changes, I'll save my grid, just hit save. If you use Thinkorswim, do me a favor in the chat, put TOS, because I'm just curious, because if I know that there's a lot of people using Thinkorswim, then I'll spend a little more time actually showing you some nuances of Thinkorswim. If you're not using Thinkorswim, the majority of the people on the call, then I'm not going to spend time on that, okay? I want to spend time on what's important to you, okay? So what are our numbers? Our numbers 645.75, 649.25, 650. So this is a zone right here. If you look at it right here, this is a zone. And that marks that zone, as I told you before, that's a huge zone. If we can get up to that, that marks a huge zone. But also, I want you to notice this too. We got a snapback, and these snapbacks are really excellent at marking zones as well. And that snapback is at 48. So this entire area, if it runs up into that area, you can bet I'm going to go short on that I'm going to go short on it. I'm going to look for entries. I'm going to go down to smaller time frames and look for entries to go short. So I would love to see the market get off of the bottom right now and actually just kind of elevate into that area. That would be great. Give us a little bit of a pullback on that. So if we get over this number right here, look at this. We got ourselves a nice area right here where we could actually have a nice counter trend into this area, 653.75, and then your top margin, I don't see us getting past 658 or 658, 656.75. Those are your numbers for the SPY if you trade the SPY. I know a lot of people trade the SPY, so I spend a little bit longer time on that than I do on other, oh, we got quite a few TOS people. Glad to have you there, okay? In the future, I'm also going to be putting together some classes and how to actually put together these type of platforms. I showed you yesterday, you know, that I have a command control center here. And the thing I love about my command control center, this is what I showed you yesterday, right? The thing I love about my command control center is that it actually, because of the indicators that I've written, it actually just makes me inherently go with the flow. Look at all this green here. If you're trying to trade to the downside and you see all of this green on your command control center, you're really fighting the trend, aren't you? You know, so automatically, just inherently, just by being here in command control, I automatically kind of just have a feeling for what the stock market is. And if you take a look at, I'm going to show you my left monitor right now, what it's looking like today compared to what it looked like yesterday, that's what I'm looking at today. And now, instead of seeing green labels everywhere and green on my dashboard, I'm seeing red everywhere. So yeah, I'll show you how to actually set these things up, how you can use some of my indicators to set up your own command control center. I'd love to teach you how to fish and not necessarily just give you the fish. All right, so here we go. Let's go ahead and let's dig into the this right here. Let's dig into the dashboards. This is what I get a lot of feeling out of this as well, right? So here you have your, let's sort it by what's up and what's down. So crude oil's killing it today. We're up almost 10% on crude oil. It's up and almost, it's doing a slight pullback just now. It's been walking up basically pretty much since the Trump speech. And let me see if I can detach that gadget. No. Okay. Yeah, it's been going up since the Trump speech. It's doing a little pullback. So if you're looking to get in oil in the pre-market, now might be the time. That's the benefit of having a dashboard like this. Your natural gas, your gold is down. It looks like we're getting a little bit of a bounce. Bitcoin, silver, all of those are actually, if you look on the week, silver's down on the week now, but it was up on the week, so it's actually, I guess it's, yeah, it was up slightly on the week, I thought. But you know, okay, these haven't changed yet because it hasn't opened yet. So let's go to right here. Energy's up. Semis are taking a huge hit. XLK is taking a huge hit. These were huge winners yesterday. Now they're taking a huge hit. XLP, XLU. So we're moving towards defensive posture. USO is up. XOP, XLE, XP, XU, TLT is down. Really, it's flat to red actually. Actually, the only ones that are up are the energy stocks. And then your metals and your semis and basically your risk-on assets, they're all down. And your Mag 7 stocks, every single Mag 7 stock is down. Apple is one that's not hurting as bad. Meta, who's had a nice jump over the last couple of days, is getting hit pretty hard, and so is Tesla and NVIDIA. Will NVIDIA break 165? Your high volume candidates right now are NVIDIA, Intel, and Nike. Yeah, we didn't talk about Nike yesterday. Nike had a terrible earnings, And I was actually looking to possibly sell a put on Nike yesterday, but as I was looking at it, it looks to me like Nike has more downside. So don't get caught in the Nike trap, at least at this time. Micron had some huge gains, and so did SanDisk had some nice gains. They're pulling back big time. Something I want to tell you guys. Take a look at the stocks that moved yesterday and the day before and make yourself a list. Make yourself a list of those stocks that moved yesterday and the day before. Put that on a list somewhere for when this market's ready to turn around. We're probably looking at another dip. We're going to go back down probably and retest the lows, and I don't believe the lows will hold personally, but we'll see. I'll make that assessment when we get there. Your gap ups, anything here, I trade large caps usually, so we're looking at Exxon, of course, Oxy. Alvaro told me there was a call options alert on Oxy, so if you were part of the Discord group for Alvaro's group, you would have got that call and you would be making some money today. Devon Energy also is up. So those are some of the up stocks. The down stocks, NVIDIA, Intel, SnapDisk, and your AI trade. I wanted to look at that. Look at this, guys. Your AI trade, every single stock that I kind of have tagged as an AI play is down. Every single stock. So AI is out. Your Jumbotron, these are the stocks that are going to move. The largest stocks in the stock market, these are the stocks that are going to move the SPY. If the Exxon's the only thing going up, we're looking at the SPY going down for sure. And then this is my primaries. A lot of those that I trade. Let's go back to the main chart that I kind of showed to you guys. I'm going to be scanning now to see what do you guys want to see. Is there any specific stocks that you want to look at? In the high volume, we got NVIDIA, so let's go ahead and take a look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA looked like it wanted to come out of this channel, but basically it recaptured the bottom edge of an uptrending. It's almost a horizontal channel that it was in. It recaptured that, but now it's lost it. That's not good. That's what we call a look above and fail. Let's go to the 4-hour chart on this. Oops. Go to the 4-hour chart. And let's zoom it out. I don't think I can get any more than that, so we're going to go 24-hour. All right, so there's your zoom out right there. This should give you a really good feel for what's going on with NVIDIA. Now, I put this on my Twitter, and I told you guys if you follow me on Twitter, and I would suggest that you do follow me on Twitter, you would actually have gotten this message here about the 150 and then not to trust this bull market. You would have got this message right here that, hey, I'm looking for a bounce over the next couple of days, and you would have been part of that bounce. You would have got this message about USO. Here's the bear flag message on Amazon. Amazon's actually still inside of that bear flag. It hasn't triggered. You would have got this message here about the SPY and that I didn't trust this rip up. Yeah, there's some good stuff I think that I put out there on my tweets. I don't tweet maybe just a couple times, maybe 4 or 5 times a week. I don't tweet a lot. Try to actually just stay in the trading zone. So here we are. This is your channel for NVIDIA essentially. We had a break below and then a retest of that channel. And what had happened? The first retest of the channel, it's failed to actually move back into the channel. So the channel held. It looks like we're going lower. NVIDIA is a very difficult stock to trade because there's so many people that just really believe in NVIDIA. There's so many people who don't believe in NVIDIA. The charts to me say it's going down lower. The reason why I showed you my Twitter page was I actually showed this on a Twitter page. And tell me if you put in the chat if you recognize what I'm pulling out here, okay? What am I showing you here? And I'll give you 1 second to see if you actually get this. Got requests for Coin and Rocket Lab. What are you seeing here? Anybody? We'll give 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Well, maybe you do know, maybe you don't. But what you're looking at, that's a Head and Shoulders. And if I'm just going to eyeball that, no, you know what? I'm not going to eyeball it. I'm actually going to show you the implications of a head and shoulders like this, because it's huge. And I've done stuff like this in the past where it's been huge, and I've had my trading coworkers being like, oh my God, there's no way that's ever happening. And I've been like, yep, you know what, I agree, but the chart says what the chart says. And lo and behold, these things end up happening. So you know what, don't discount it. All right, what does that imply? That implies 126, 125 for NVIDIA by the time we get through all of this. And could we be going into something that's just as bad as that? Could the SPY actually be going down for a second dip that's going to dip below the near-term low, and then eventually NVIDIA is going to walk itself down to 125? It gets down to 125, I think that's a buy, baby. I think it's a buy with both hands. Will it get down there? I don't know. I'm looking right here at this 140, 150, 145 area. If it breaks this 165, I think that that's a good chance we're going to get into that area. I am actually... I think NVIDIA is still a great stock, but I do believe we got more downside. Are we going to get down to that 150? I don't know. I mean, the 125? I don't know. I probably would not put money if that would happen, but at the same time, you know what? I'll watch to see if it does happen, and I'll put it in my narrative that that's actually something that can happen. 8:33 on the time frame. We got plenty of time. We got 10 to 15 minutes more that we'll be spending time together. Let's go ahead and go over coin. I love coin. I want to own coin. So I almost sold some puts on coin, but I don't sell puts unless it's actually ripping down. Coin needs to be evaluated from a longer term play. We need to actually look at coin from the aspect of what does the Elliott wave say for coin? And I think I've showed you guys this, but I'm pretty sure coin is in a 5-wave down. Yeah, it is. It looks like it's, according to this program, it's already put in the 5th wave. It estimates it to be about 150. So that 150 area, you can kind of mark that off as being your low. Maybe it's going to come back into this area and retest these lows. But according to that, it says that it's in the 5th wave that has already been complete. What does that mean? When we say a 5th wave has been complete, let's take a look at this, right? Here's your waves, if you want me to show how easily this is to count. 1, there's 1. Here's, let me see, is that 2? Yeah. Here is your 3rd wave, and then here's your 5th wave. Okay. Anyhow, what does that mean? That means that the stock can either do this. It could either go like this for a while before it decides if it's going to be going up or if it's going to be going down. Elliott called this a flat. All right? Or it could actually find that bottom, and then we could actually then look at going for an upside. So at the very least, you're looking at sideways to up action more than likely. You hit your 5th wave, you're not going to have a 5-wave down until a flat is played out. A flat would be something like what you're seeing right now, where it's going sideways. So you got this action, then this action. That's an ABC move, possibly this action, right? But considering the market the way it is right now, I would almost look at this as being this right now, because the market's bearish right now, so I wouldn't be looking to trade the long side on that. So let's go ahead and let's look at the numbers on this. I'm going to the day trading mode, so we're going to go straight to the 15-minute. You got a snapback on this one as well. Your snapback number is 168.50. And guys, this is why, you know what, when I built this snapback, I was only building it to actually find areas where I could actually, like, you know, I love to trade reversals. So if it held right here, I would trade that reversal. And even so, you would have got this reversal right here. But then after it broke that reversal, you got to change to go in short. So you actually could make money off of that, even in the short term. Look at this. It doesn't look like much, but, you know, as a scalper, going from, let me see what that is, 168.43 up to 169.70. That's $100 on 100 shares, you know. So, you know, it's good. But the bigger piece of this is, what happened after this snapback fired? And that's why I started building it. I built it so it drew this line. And this is what I found fascinating with my back testing is that it actually, it holds this line. It holds this line. Look at this. Every time it came back to retest that snapback, it held. And so what it does is it shows hidden levels where there's a buyer or a seller. So there was a buyer at this spot, and then all of a sudden that buyer said, okay, no longer, I'm a seller now. And then there were sellers at that spot, and now it's become a sell zone. So that number has also become a pivot. It's 168.75. Down on the bottom here, you got 166.75, a retest into this, and it looks like if you get a pinch on this 20-period moving average on the 15-minute, that might be a nice scalp to go low, okay? If you get up above this 167 or 168.75, 169 area, capture these moving averages, you have a nice open area where there's no volume right here, okay? That's a gap area. You should be able to get up to 171.75 pretty quickly. I give that a probability of about 20%, 10 or 20% chance that you get up to that. We'll see if the narrative changes. You know what? We might have the Trump pump, right? Trump puts out those tweets, and all of a sudden the stock market seems like it believes everything he says, and here we go again, you know, back up to the upside. But I'm loving this as a day trader. So, all right, moving on to, let's see here. Let me pull this back off. Sorry about that. And we wanted to look at Rocket Lab. All right, let's look at Rocket Lab. All right, and I haven't looked at this one in a while, but right off the bat, what I'm seeing is I'm seeing a huge consolidation zone right here, right? And that's the problem. When you're below that consolidation zone, which it is right now, that's a daily chart, right? So it's not, I don't know where it's at right now in the pre-market. We're going to see that in just a second. But it barely came up into that. It's going to have a struggle trying to get in through that. There's so many buyers and so many sellers. Somebody, you know, is holding shares and they're underwater, and they're so happy now that they're either at or near zero, you know, near break even, that they're ready to dump and get out of that position. So let's go ahead. Let's look at this one on the 24-hour, and let's expand the screen. It's been a while since I looked at Rocket Lab. Thank you for asking about that. Here's your 24-hour chart, and once again, you see that you see your snapback up here marking the high of the trading range, which is really fascinating. Once again, we don't have a snapback on the lower because basically it's been just kind of chopping in this trading range all along. It's in a longer term uptrend, if we look at that. And you know, you guys know me. I like to pull a regression channel just to get a feel for it. But if we pull a regression channel on this, we're basically recapturing the bottom edge of that regression channel. But we're also in a possibility of actually completely losing it, which changes the trend, right? If you lose that regression channel, it changes the trend. That's the significance of that. Let's look at this, for example. Let's say we pulled a regression channel from here to here, right? From here to there, right? And it actually then broke the regression channel, tested it, broke it again, tested it, and then changed it. That is how you actually trade along out of that regression channel. So right now, if this gets down below that regression channel, which you probably could just mark that low, that's 61 right there, gets underneath there and then retests that, we're probably looking at a change of character, to this stock, and it's actually going to trade lower. And if you look, we do have ourselves on on this time frame right now, it's actually trending down. So that's a quick, non-biased way of just using Thinkorswim to actually, give you the trading ranges and the measurements right there for you. Let's look at this on the 15-minute. I can give you some entries and exits and stuff like that, and then we'll move on to the next thing. All right, so here we are. There's our snapback right there, so let's leave that on. All right, the snapback is so high up above, I don't even think it's worth talking about right now, but we got a snapback low right here. We're also got a trading range that we're right in, where there's a lot of buyers and sellers who've been trading in the aftermarket in this area right here. Right now it's testing that area. If it's a test and fail in that area, this looks to me like it could be a nice short. So that would be what I would actually look for as my primary type of entry in this. If you're trying to go long on this, if you're trying to go long on this, I think you need to get up above these numbers here. You need to get above 69.75. Okay. Once again, do yourself a favor. Mark out this pre-market low right here. Okay. Mark out that pre-market low right there, and look for a failure on the pre-market low and a retest. A failure on that pre-market low and retest, and you got yourself a short. Okay. And if you get that short, come back to this channel. By the way, guys, I spend time with you guys, and do me a favor, help me promote the channel, get some likes out there, and maybe occasionally throw a comment out there if you like the content, or if you have certain stocks that you want me to go over, or any suggestions for me. I will take into consideration your comments and make sure that I do those things. It's 6:43. I'm gonna hit Meta really quick, and then I'm gonna hit Microsoft. Okay. All right. Meta's in this downward channel. It broke the downward channel. It retested it. Look at that retest on the downward channel. We hit a snapback. The snapback was right on time. God, I love that indicator. Snapback was right on time. You guys know you can go to my website, stockchartistry.com. You can pick up these indicators, okay? So anyhow, for the Thinkorswim traders. I have a measured move, first measured move on a Meta of 484.36. What does, I forget what it's got two topping tails on it. This here is just typical of being in a downtrend right now. This is an ABC move. It actually hit the first part of the first measured move of the ABC move. I think we're going to see that second measured move hit. We're definitely probably going to go down and retest this snapback low. I would definitely look for a reaction off the snapback low. It's a little struggle to get in this on a swing, because now you've got stuff underneath of you, where you didn't have it before. If you look on let's go to the hourly on this one. You see here on this hourly, you actually now have support right here. You see how these magenta lines, these are Fibonacci's I pulled on where I was like, okay, they're projection targets, right? And you can see how you have reactions right there. So I think the algos, trade with me or something. They pull the same things. And then this orange or yellow line, this gold line right here, this usually is like a trending channel, right? So you can see the reactions off the trending channel. What are those numbers? The number on that's 556.50. The number on the trending channel, guys, it's never going to be down to the penny. 543.50, all right? Those are zones where you got to watch price action. You got to give it some give and take. You got to, look at the average true range, and then, try to actually give it some room to move if you want to actually trade a winning stock. Your low is 518. Your snapback low is 526.43. We're underneath the moving averages, and the moving averages the 5 is actually neutral, but you can see on the slope right here, this is another one of my indicators that I sell. But on the slope, we have it's not a strong downtrend on the 10 and the 20. Okay, as you can see, it's a slight downtrend, and that's what that's signifying. And then it says the 50 is actually uptrending. So we're getting ready to have a crossover I think that crossover is going to play out. It's going to be negative. I do think that we're actually looking for a sell-off today, so I'm negative on this stock as well on this daily basis. Let's go over to the 15-minute time frame and see if we can get some dialed-in numbers for you, okay? The dialed-in numbers on my pivot indicator are 564, okay? Your snapback on the 15 minutes, 568.50, 527.25. Your low for the day that you should be marking is 551.12. Mark that low, and then I'm going to show you something right here, just in case you don't know how to do it. I'm going to mark that low, okay? Just going to double click it, mark it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say create an alert with the drawing, okay? When it crosses below, I'm going to put a note in here, below PML, pre-market low, all right? Below PML. Okay, now I'm going to get an alert when that happens, okay? I don't need that because I also have an indicator that actually marks these for every single one of the stocks for me, but I'm showing you guys how to do it. So if you don't buy my indicator, you don't have to buy my indicator. You can mark these on the stocks that you're watching. I actually put that indicator on all of my stocks that I'm watching. I'll show you right now. This is what I use to actually trade with. I put a matrix here in the corner, and then I have all the different time frames. You see that little dashed line right there? What I just drew in, and it marked it right there, PML, right there, that's there for me. I'm going to go back to my other window because this is a better window for showing you the stocks. All right, the last one on the list is Microsoft. Microsoft is in a perpetual downtrend. It tried to get above this middle part of the range right here, but you could see basically all it's doing is just walking down the range, and then it eventually, when it lost it, you got a change of direction, right? A change of trend. When you got that change of trend, you know, you can make a good money actually trading bearish stocks to the upside. Let's not kid ourselves. That's a nice upside move. Microsoft for the last 2 days had a great upside move, but and I was looking at it, I was like thinking to myself, is this time to get into Microsoft? And I don't think it is. I think Microsoft's got more downside. And when you look at the Elliott wave, and I'm not going to post it, I'm not going to look at it right now because we're at the end of the call, but you look at the Elliott wave, it's actually Elliott thinks he's only putting in about, it's on about the 3, we still got to put in the 4. And my projection target for Microsoft is down here in the 300s. If you see that that magenta line right there, that's in there because I projected that it's going to go down into the 300s. We're at a minimum, a first target is actually 350. Let's just say 350. These kind of targets, you know, you need to round them off. So this is 350, right? Here's my target right here. Although my target to the upside on the SPY practically hit to the penny, guys, 312.21. Okay, there's your penny number. But if you want a range, we're looking at 310, 315. Okay, that's what you're looking at for that. Okay, let's go ahead and reset this back. Let's go back over here. Let's look at this on the hourly. I think it's important on this one. The reason we're going to the hourly is because we got downside support now. We got an open area of trading down here. It looks like we could get down into the 356 area pretty easily. We got a snapback over here. You know those snapbacks are significant. So we got a snapback. We also got a pivot. And then we also got a snapback here. So this entire range, it could actually move into that range really quickly on an overshoot, right? It's pushing into it right now. It's trying to actually have some kind of recovery. This stock's been beaten down so bad, but it's running into resistance on the 20-period moving average. And you could see also that on the slope that it's got a 5-period that's actually flat, but the 10 period's slightly down, and then the 20 is down strong. This is what they call a pinch play right here. This is a beautiful pinch play, actually. What you have going on here, and this is something that I've been looking at on a book that I'm reading. This man talks about the 20 period moving into a level, and then that level has actually become resistance. And so he calls this a pinch. When you come into this, it's just that the stock just doesn't have enough strength to get up above it. It's got too many things working against it. More than likely, this stock here is going down today, okay? And you got, if it does happen to, and you know, a lot of times when it actually does hit that 20, by the way, I've noticed it likes to overshoot it a little bit, so wouldn't be surprised to come into this snapback. It comes up to that snapback low, that's a pretty good spot to actually look for a short. Look at your price action, see if it makes sense. For me, this is a short. Guys, that's it. Do me a favor, hit the like button, drop a comment. All right, have a great weekend. There's no trading tomorrow, okay? Have a great holiday, have a good Friday, enjoy your time.